Hey everyone, Chamia here, Just Chamia Show with our beautiful, noted, talented photographer, Mariah Carle of Carle Photography. Hey girl.
Hello.
So, what's one of the biggest misunderstandings about boudoir photography?
For me, I believe one of the biggest misunderstandings about boudoir photography is a very personal and individual misunderstanding. There's no one concern that everybody brings to the studio. Mm-hmm. Every certain person has their own concept, and I don't want to say they're all wrong, mm-hmm. but it's a huge vary of one person will say, hey, I don't want to be nude. Great, you don't have to. To them, all they've seen is you have to be nude. You have to do what the photographer says. Mm-hmm. It's the photographer's project. Mm-hmm. And then to someone else, it'll say, oh, no, it's only for soccer moms, mm-hmm. For trophy wives who spend all their time at the gym. So for someone who's not a soccer mom and a little bit younger, mm-hmm. they're like, oh, I can't do it till I'm older. Mm-hmm. For a lot of people, I think the misconception is that it is only a luxury product. Mm-hmm. It is only for the upper class, only for the thin, rich, white soccer moms. Mm-hmm. Instead, it is actually a lot more of a collaboration in my studio, and I receive so many phone calls and inquiries about why people want to do boudoir photography. Mm-hmm. I had one woman call me up on, I believe it was a Friday evening or a Thursday evening, and say, I'm very sorry, I need to come in this weekend. I just got the final results back. I'm having a double mastectomy on Monday morning. I need photos mm-hmm. before I have a mastectomy. Mm-hmm. My breasts, I'm 22, my breasts are going to be gone in, what are we looking at, 72 hours. So yeah, I'll find a way to clear my schedule and make that happen.
Right.
Not a soccer mom, mm-hmm. not somebody who's rich.
Mm-hmm.
I have another lovely woman who comes in. She's come in a few times. Her honey is incarcerated, and there's a lot of really special rules about photos
that you can send. Yeah.
Right, you can't send too much, and you
mm-hmm.
can't show certain things, but not everything. Mm-hmm. And packaging, there's no packaging. Mm-hmm. So we just do a print. She's like, oh, if we do all the pretty packaging, they're just gonna tear it up. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, no problem. Again, not exactly a soccer mom. Mm-hmm. But yeah, hey, her boyfriend loves the photos. Mm-hmm. Every year, she comes back, oh, he loved this one and he loved that one, mm-hmm. and he had this idea.
So it's not just for thin people mm-hmm. or people of a certain social class, but for people of...
It's every single social class.
And men.
And men. Mm-hmm. So about 25% of my clients are men. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest misconception there is it's only gay men, or it's only perverted men. Or it's only men who really want to show me their penis. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of penises, I really don't care anymore. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of boobs, mm-hmm. really don't care anymore. Mm-hmm. The men are coming for the same reason the women come. Mm. The men are showing up because their wives, their girlfriends of 20, 30 years have said, hey honey, so remember those photos I did when I was younger? Yeah, it's your turn. Mm-hmm. Pony up. I want to, and a lot of the men, unfortunately, are able to kind of maybe hold their age a little better than mm-hmm. women. I swear, women, bitch, we start sliding. Women get old, men become distinguished. Mm-hmm. I don't know how this happens. Mm-hmm. So the women come in maybe a little earlier when they're younger and still hot. Men don't seem to hit it till they're after 40. And they're mm-hmm. like, I'm 45. I still have a 32-inch waist. Mm-hmm. I'm coming in. Or they start working out when they're 50. They just hit 50 and you're like, I've lost some weight, I'm working out. My wife thinks I look great. I'd like some photos for her.
Is boudoir photography art?
Oh, you said that dirty little word. I am not the arbiter of what is good art, bad art, or porn. Mm-hmm. I did a project years ago, and it was published on the web, a number of years ago. And what I thought was fascinating was I knew for a fact my grandmother thinks the most mundane work I do. You can undo 2 buttons and she'd probably call it porn and be disgusted.
Yeah.
You know, my mother likes some of the work I do, and some of it she says is a little too much, a little too far. My sister, you know, we're talking a 3rd generation, loves, you know, all of it, loves the really dirty stuff. So I work hard to make every piece its own individual piece of art, but I'm only one person and I cannot make that decision. To me, it's not considered art until society says it is. I have made, you know, worked on projects where I've said, yes, I think this is art, and society's like, that's a piece of crap. No, that's commission. No. I have done pieces literally that I have thought were a lighting test. I'm like, I'm just testing, I'm just playing, and it blew up and the world said, this is art. I'm like, really, is it? Cool, I didn't know that. And with porn, society does the same thing. There are a number of people, this is an adult studio. You know, I don't advertise I work with children. I don't advertise I work with families. And yet families with young ones show up at times. You know, I've done boudoir sessions, and then, goodness, 9 months later, you know, I'm doing 8 months later, I'm doing a maternity session. And then, you know.
And you've done fashion.
I've done fashion, yeah. So basically, I let my clients decide whether or not they like me, whether or not they like what I produce. I call it boudoir because, you know, calling it I do fine art by commission, you usually got to be pretty naked, dumping something all over yourself. It's a bit long of a sentence.
Right.
And boudoir is the closest word that we have for, you know, more on the nude side, by commission. But if somebody comes to me with a fashion project and they like my style and they like the way I work, absolutely. Now, a lot of the fashion people won't because they don't like my style, they don't like the way I work, and that's okay. So yeah, I basically produce, you know, what I'm commissioned to, and I send it out into the world, and I let the world decide. You know, I let the world decide if it's art, if it's porn, if it's crap. And it's what's really fun is when you get the argument, because you'll have 2 people looking at the same image in a gallery, bickering back and forth, and having a dialogue over what. Yeah, I'm angry, I'm happy, I love it, I hate it. It should have been done this way. It should have been done that way.
But that's what makes it.
And that's what starts the conversation.
Yeah.
What I want to know is which one of you is going to buy it.
Yeah.
Because I do try to make a profit off of my souls.
Right.
I figure, you know, the more I can do, and I do not consider a difference in commerce and art. The more I am hired, the more art I can create. So every client that comes in helps me make more art. And then they'll tell a friend, and they will help me create more art. And we just keep going around and around and around.
What do you want people to know? Just anything you want people to know or people to be talking about, or just...
What do I want people to know? That is a tough
Besides
one.
Mr. 23, who is just really over here sleeping like a baby.
He's just taking a nap. You still around here, kiddo?
Yeah.
He's just taking a nap during the whole thing.
Right, sleeping like a newborn.
If I'm reincarnated, seriously, I want to come back as a cat. This is great. Maybe as a cat who lives with a cat person.
Okay.
Not all cats have got the good life.
Right, right.
He actually had a pretty rough life before he came to me, so he's retired now.
Yeah.
What do I want people to know? I think what I want people to know in my realm, in my world of photography and art and commerce, is that commerce does not dilute art. You know, just because someone hires me does not mean I work less on a project, does not mean I love a project less. It does not mean that I will put less effort into it. There has been this huge fight that I have seen over and over again of, you know, if you're paid for it, is it art? If you make it out of your heart and soul, is it art? If you're not paid for it, is it better? Is an independent film better than a studio film? Are the images that I have been produced by others better than images that are solely produced by me? I think if we kind of get past that, we can create a lot more, and a lot of people will not be as afraid to create more art, and therefore create the conversations that art propagates. And I also feel in doing that, we're spending a lot more time with our independent businesses, with our communities, because a lot of the independent artists are heavily entrenched in their communities. So again, going back to Putin, and do we give a shit about Russia's increasing their nukes? I don't know, but what's happening to my neighbor across the hall who had a flood? What's happening to my neighbor 2 doors down, where there's a new baby on the way? What's happening to the new business across the street? I think if we work more on that and work together, then that will be a better community overall.
Awesome.
Yep.
Lastly, where can people find Carle Photography?
I'm well hidden on the bad side of Oakland. I am in Jingletown, and that is actually, we are located right off the 880 on 23rd Avenue, which is right before the Park Street Bridge in Alameda. So we are literally right on the edge of Oakland. And we're also by appointment only, so don't come knocking on my door thinking you can come in and visit me same day.
But they can see your work online?
They can. They can see my work online. carlephotography.com is our website. And there's also a Facebook, it's Carle Photography. And yeah, you can take a look at the work. You can send me an email. You can ask me any questions. There's also a press page with media. And what that goes over is a lot of the recent media I've had in the Alameda Sun magazine, gallery shows at the local 420 gallery just last month. And, whomever's writing about me on the Chamia Show. So that'll really tell you a lot more about where I'm at, what I'm doing, when my next show is. Since I'm really late in getting that listed, usually where my last show was. And I do allow private viewings. If you want to come in and say, hey, I'd love a studio tour, I want to look at some of your work, I want to buy a print, we arrange a time, you come in for a cup of tea, you hang out, and you can look at more prints that way in person. And then if you want to do a commission, then we make an appointment and you come in and we spend a couple hours making art, and then you get to wait a couple weeks and take something home.
Awesome. Mariah, pleasure.
Thank you
so much. Just Chamia Show. See you next time.